of the United Charter.
Let's bring in Cliff May, founder and president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. It's great to talk to you, an old friend, and great to have you here on Sunday. Can I get your just reflections overall right now as to where we are, not quite 24 hours since this operation took place?
Well, a regime that has been reciting death to America, death to Israel since at least 1979. I was there as a reporter actually hearing it. I can recite some of the few words I can recite in Farsi. This regime has been essentially defanged, not entirely by any means. They may have tricks up their sleeve. But overall, I would say that the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, if you'll excuse the pun, he's between a rack and a hard place.
What I think is interesting is to look at this. I know that there's always a temptation to, obviously we study history, but you don't always fight the last war because wars change. And one of the things that's so different now is what Israel was able to do inside Iran, taking care of the capabilities of Hezbollah and of Hamas. General Jack Keane was on earlier. He talked about Iran being more isolated than ever. Listen here.
Iran is isolated in a way that we've never seen in the 45 years. The proxies have not supported them at all. Think of that. Iran is on its heels. Their very survival is in question as a regime and as a military organization, as the IRGC controlling the proxies and supporting the region. All of that is on the table.
Yeah. General Keane
So,
is
Cliff,
right.
can you talk about that? And especially when it comes to Russia or China and their possible or non-involvement.
Okay, so General Keane's right. He's almost always right. As I followed him, the reason the proxies that surround Israel, the Ring of Fire, haven't been able to do much is because the Israelis have also defanged them. Hezbollah has been well diminished. Hamas, you know what has happened there. The Houthis are somewhat scared. They get their weapons anyhow and their funding from Tehran, so they can't do much. Now, Moscow and Beijing, they are in a kind of axis with Tehran. But they see Tehran now as being weak. They see Tehran as not having been able to do what it should do. Think of a James Bond movie when the bad guy, the villain, has somebody into his office and he says, "You failed," and the floor opens up and the deputy ends up among the sharks underneath. They will say nice things. They will do nice things. I don't think they'll go much further than that. Before this started, the Chinese were sending precursor chemicals for ballistic missiles. I'm not sure they'll do that. The Chinese want the oil to continue to flow, so they may say, step back. The thing is, if you're the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, you're 86 years old. You've been in power since 89. You're seeing your dream go up in smoke, quite literally. Do you now bend a knee to the infidels? Are you ready to do that? Or would you just rather die a martyr? But maybe you want your regime to continue to exist. And so what the wonky expression is, he drinks from the poisoned chalice. And that's because his predecessor, Ruhollah Khomeini, the first supreme leader, he said that's what he had to do to end the war with Iran so that the revolution, the regime, would continue.
One last question. Of course, I know that you never do. And I would just remind everyone, we have to keep in mind that there are still hostages being held in Gaza. And I'm wondering if you know about any discussions about trying to get them out at this point after last night.
I haven't heard anything about that from any of my sources or my contacts. It would not be a bad thing to do. It would be a very good thing to do if the president were to say in any negotiations going forward, we want this regime to tell Hamas, which is a proxy of them, whoever is left in Hamas, you let the hostages go. And by the way, if the hostages are allowed to leave, and if Hamas puts down his weapons, then you could have a cessation of hostilities in Gaza. That's the way to do it. And it's something I hope the president will consider if negotiations if there are negotiations going forward.
Yeah, well, we keep them top of mind, as I know you do. Thank you, Cliff May. Great to have you.
Thanks, Dan.
Giving a little breaking news here. Potential mass shooting thwarted in Michigan today.